He continues to be another beacon for freedom and truth. But we're also going to take your calls. We're going to take your calls at 888-201-2244. That's 888-201-2244. And we're also going to take from the direct line 512-646-1776. We are looking for G20 specific comments and questions. So if you want to talk about what just occurred in Pittsburgh, we got another 2 hours. I want to get your take on it. I want to hear what you've seen on the news. I want to hear what you think about the coverage by InfoWars. I want to hear what you think about the coverage from CNN. You know, I go to this concert for climate change that was put together by Al Gore and others. And Al Gore didn't even really show up. He gave a video message. Oh, thank you, Lord Al. Thank you, Mr. Gore. And all these people are speaking out against CO2. And again, well-meaning idiots. I taped this one protest where this girl had a canary cage on her head with a fake dead canary on top with two flags. She was supposedly the mother goddess or something coming out of her back and a cape. And then they took the canary down and they had a piece of coal lying on a bandana with like a globe in it, and they were worshiping Mother Earth, and coal is going to save us, and the Waxman proposal is what we want. I'm like, what? And then a couple of people who actually knew what was going on showed up. They had an Al Gore type deception dollar speaking out against the carbon tax. They said, look, these elitists want us to pay to try to fix the environment. No, this is another money-making scam. What they're going to do is charge us to breathe. And I said, wait, you don't want to be taxed to breathe? She's like, no, I'd rather not be taxed to breathe. I'd rather not have my carbon emissions be regulated by the same globalists that are in charge today. And I couldn't agree more. We're going to come back with your calls after this. It's the InfoWarrior with Jason Bermas, 888-201-2244.
The good old folks at New Silver Solution. And the website is supernaturalsilver.com. Supernaturalsilver.com. This is something that kills bacteria, viruses, you name it, well documented. They've got it down to a super small nano-sized particle. Supernaturalsilver.com. Check them out at InfoWars.com. Supernaturalsilver.com.
All right, folks, we are back. We're going to have Luke Rudowski up in just a few moments, but I'm going to jump to some of your calls. If you were shocked at what you saw at the demonstrations at the G20, if you have a comment of what went down at the G20 or the communique that was already, predetermined, this is a dog and pony show. This is a psychological operation on the world populace to let you know, and really the American public, to let them know, yes, the dollar's dying. It's no longer going to be the world currency. We all need to work together. And by the way, they beat the war drums against Iran, really hyping up that threat big time at the G20 as well. Any of that stuff, please call in 888-201-2244 or 512-646-1776. We're also going to have Luke Rudowski fielding questions in the next hour as well. Jasper in Massachusetts. Jasper, you're on the line.
Hey, Jason. How you doing?
I'm all right, man.
Good. Glad you made it back in one piece. How you feeling?
I'm feeling all right. My legs are a little bit tired. My feet are a little bit sore, but I wouldn't have traded it for anything in the world because there's really no substitute for a first account in hand of history.
I know what you mean, man. I was in the San Francisco protest where we went up on the Oakland Bridge and took over that.
Excellent.
And, well, I'm just really proud of you guys. I'm really proud of Luke. My girlfriend and I went on his site, and you can tell him, he's probably listening right now, but we chipped in, and so he should be able to buy his DVD duplicator now. We put in a big
he needs all the help he can
there.
get, not only on DVD duplicators and such, but now he might have a court case. I mean, he has to go back to Pittsburgh Wednesday, and that trip alone is probably going to cost him a couple $100 just to get down there and back.
Yeah, well, do you want to put me over to your producer after the call, and I'll leave my number for Luke, because we could probably spot him a little extra, too, for that.
All right. You know what? I will leave you with the producer, and then we will put you in touch with an email or a phone number for Luke as well. We'll get your phone number and email, and I'll have Luke get that after he's a guest. I really appreciate the call, Jasper.
What do you need?
Good. What do I need?
You want anything?
No, man. Hey, you know what I need? I need
what about
to burn DVDs.
What about the guys who hosted you?
What do you mean?
Do any of those guys need bullhorns or cameras or anything?
Not that I know of, but I will say this. We Are Change is a hell of an organization, and they came from all over. It wasn't just New York We Are Change. It was Jersey We Are Change. It was Philly 9/11 Truth that was there. So, I love We Are Change. You talk to Luke. I'm sure he's got a lot of ways that you can help, Jasper. I really appreciate it, man. All right, let's jump to Mark in Oregon. Mark, you're on the line. Yes,
Jason?
sir. Hey.
Well, you're a brave soul, Jason.
I'm not as brave as people think. Again, I had to get down there because I wanted to know what was going on. I was lucky enough to have a camera that wasn't too big and didn't weigh me down that much. I got as close as I thought I could without getting a rubber bullet to the mouth or a baton to the face. And there were a couple times where it was a little bit hairy. But what are you going to do? I mean, these people have to be exposed. If not me, then who? I mean, who else is going to put out this video? That's the problem. So, when you live in a nation and really a world of cowards who are more concerned, again, with their favorite sports team. And by the way, I went to I went from the Pirates game to that riot. I went and met one of my college friends at the Pirates game. He's a dental student out there. We were up kicking back in the Southwest Delta Center part where they were giving out free beer and free food, and everybody was being mindless. But luckily, there were a couple kids there that, my friend said, hey, you got to meet these guys. They're big fans. They came over. They said, wow, we've seen your work. What are you doing here? Hold over, Mark. I'm going to come back to you.
Thank you.
You got it. They said, wow, what are you doing here? I'm like, I'm here to cover the G20. And they said, well, why are you covering the G20? And I explained it. And even these, really well-meaning, nice people, they still don't have the big picture, the global perspective of how the globalists are trying to bring in a new world order of tyranny. So we got to show them bigger pieces of the puzzle. We're going to come back with Luke Radowski and your phone calls after this.
Do you understand how dark it is? How far down the line we are? How late it is?
See your true colors. Inside you're ugly like me. I can see through you, see the real you.
We are back. It's the second hour of the InfoWarrior with Jason Bermas. Remember, if you miss any of the program, we've got the podcast over at the InfoWarrior.com. Very important program today, really recapping everything that happened at the G20 in Pittsburgh. We're speaking to Mark in Oregon, and, again, I just have to say, if not me, then who? And I hope that more and more people look in the mirror tonight, tomorrow, next week, next month, and say the same thing. Pick an issue. Get involved. I saw so many well-meaning protesters that just don't get it, that just need a little bit more of a push, a little bit more of an education out there. I mean, if Bush were still in office, instead of seeing a dozen or so Iraqi veterans against the war, I would have seen 100 or so. But now Obama's here to save us, and a lot of the left has bought into that, unfortunately. So there's a lot of work to do out there. Mark, what do you got for me?
People, whether it be my own relatives, whether it be people that I meet at random, in my going about. And I have seen people who understand the documentation, but they will not consider adopting it as being truth. There's some fissure that occurs in the human mind at the behest, you might say, of fear of consequences. And I have seen people who actually do know the truth, but they are able to program the truth out of their mind because the truth is too terrible, and they know that they can't handle it. Now you have people like yourself and myself and Alex and many others, but probably are in a minority. I hope not. And I hope that if it is a minority, that it becomes a majority before things become irreversible in our reality here in the near time frame. And that really is a big difference between the two types of people. There are bigger people and there are smaller people. And it's a matter of individuality. And I just thank God for people like yourself that inspire all of us out here who desperately want to stop what is occurring here, especially in light of where it's going to, by all appearances, in the very near future. But that's my statement to you, Jason. And maybe a memorial to you today because, you're quite the person. I've been around about 60 years. I've seen a lot of different people, and when Alex and you came together, there's a like energy there, and anyone who has a like energy to Alex and a passion by virtue of that for the truth, and essentially has no fear of the consequences. When the consequences, the possible consequences, are all around you, they make it plain to you that there are consequences if you come out and you try to expose them. That's true for all of us. But you step out into the realm of reality and put yourself on the line, just like Charlie Sheen has, just like Alex has, just like I'm doing with this phone call. I think it's a matter of spirit. It's a matter of individuality, as I say, and you should just count yourself very fortunate because you're on the side of good, my friend. You truly are.
Well, thank you so much.
Jason,
yeah, go ahead.
If I could mention one more thing to you real quick.